folks, it's Mark and Bob.
How's it going, folks?
From Fire Mountain Outdoors. You know how you can tell? Because look at that, we got shirts. Hey, you can go to our Facebook page and figure out how to get some if you want some, or we'll put them in the comments, or you just figure it out, or don't get them, or whatever.
Right.
Oh, why are we here, Bob?
Hey, Webby Shops sent us out a Trijicon ACOG to try out today. And what we have here is the model TA01NSN. This particular model does not have a fiber optic sight on it, but don't let that detract you. The ACOG was originally designed without the fiber optic on it. So you could call this kind of like a retro sight with modern day enhancements.
You know, Bob, I've got my own Trijicon ACOG, which was why I was really excited to see what a new one looked like. Because this one, it took me years of swapping and trading and working up to finally get to the pinnacle, the icon, the best 4-power battle weapon sight, the ACOG. And, you know, this thing came to me just like a lot of stuff comes to me. Kind of rough around the edges. This was battle worn and beat up and hammered and chipped and dented, and that's the way I like it, because it was really expensive and I didn't really want to cry when I scratched it. But I was excited to see one that was unmolested.
I gotta say, it almost looks a little bit odd because I've only seen the ones that have been battle worn. It's kind of neat to see one that's actually all black. It's a good looking sight.
That's right.
Speaking of being a good looking sight, you know, one thing about the Trijicon ACOG is it's extremely iconic.
Oh, exactly. I think it's the most recognizable optic there is for a battle weapon.
Yeah, I would say maybe the EOTech is going to be a close second, but I don't think anything comes as close to having this particular silhouette that's going to be as recognizable in the field. You know, we've been bombarded in the news for the last 20 years of, you know, having troops overseas, and you see the guys, you know, clearing the huts, and they're all coming out, and they've got their ACOGs. You know, you're getting something that's battle tested. You know, it's field tested out in Afghanistan, out in Iraq, and, you know, wherever else that we have conflicts going right now.
You know, and because of that iconic nature, the very shape of the ACOG, which I find a little bit problematic just due to the scope cover issue. It's raining outside right now. Scope covers are an inherent need here in the Northwest. Because of the unique iconic shape, scope covers are problematic for these and all of the countless knockoffs that there are. Why do you think there's so many knockoffs, Bob?
There's a lot of knockoffs because what we have is a very expensive optic. And when you have something that's expensive and it's desirable, you're going to have companies out there that are trying to mass produce this for less money. One good thing about WebbyShops.com is, you know, they are an authorized seller, so you're going to be guaranteed to get a genuine ACOG.
Yeah. So it's important to make sure that you get the genuine article. If you can't afford a real ACOG, there are plenty of substitutes out there, lesser quality items. But don't spend ACOG money for a non-ACOG knockoff. The Trijicon ACOG 4x32 power TA01NSN model has easily removable windage and elevation caps that conceal very easy to adjust with no tools required windage and elevation adjustments. Now these ones are 1/2 MOA adjustments. 1 click equals 1/2 inch of adjustment at 100 yards. The caps are sealed with O-rings for moisture and dust infiltration resistance. And you'll also notice that this model has a front sight and a rear sight built into it for a backup sight. This particular model has a tritium bead in here that's very visible, just like your night sights on your rifle would be. And this is a ghost ring rear aperture. Now you'll note that the sight radius is very, very short here. So you wouldn't want to rely on this for long distance work, but it's very suitable for close quarters situations where these would come into play.
Installing the Trijicon ACOG is fairly straightforward. You're going to mount this onto the top of your flat top weapon. Any Picatinny rail will work. And you're going to tighten down the knobs. You can see they are notched here, so you can either use a quarter or a screwdriver to tighten those up a little bit further to avoid any jostling of the optic. The eye relief on these particular scopes is quite short. On this particular model, it's going to be about 2 inches. If you're using a fixed length stock with your Trijicon ACOG, you may find that you're not going to be able to get the eye relief that you need for this particular optic. In this case, having a telescoping M4 type stock is going to get you close enough to be able to see through the optics and use them.
Now, as you can see, the glass is very, very clear and bright, even in the dark woods here. One thing, though, that this particular model, the TA0, doesn't have that I really like about the other objectives is it does not have the illuminated reticle. Now, it does feature tritium, but that tritium only comes into play when it's very, very dark, and in fact, probably when you would need night vision. So if I was in the market for a $1,200 scope, I would have to say that I would really, really, really want it to have the illuminated reticle. And we'll show that difference now. But the glass here is stellar. And I think this shows a good view of the reticle. And you can see the graduations. We're peering at about 50 or 75 yards right now, but that's a tree. As you can see, this is, what the heck is that? Whoa. Now, as you can see in this one, the huge difference in the visibility of the reticle, especially when we go up against a dark foreground, like a tree or something, we're not able to see the hash marks underneath, but we can still see our aiming point. And we're in the dark woods. This is self-generated by the fiber optics on top. This is not a battery. This is not any other kind of thing that's going to go out or dead. This also has a tritium illumination that comes on when it's very, very, very dark. But once again, in my opinion, it's pretty much worthless unless you're using night vision, which, frankly, I don't have any night vision. Oop. What do we have here?
What I think it is. I think we need to back out of
Oh,
here.
look. I think it's Sasquatch and his dog.
Since when did Sasquatch get a dog?
I don't know. I think ancient primates probably need companions too.
I think we scared him off. He's going away.
Yeah, he's going away. But here, look, we can adjust the intensity of that illumination merely by covering the fiber optic up on top. All I did is put my hand over the top of the scope, and I've made it dark. But now, even in the dark woods, it's picking up the ambient light and made it brighter. The cool thing is that self-adjusts, so if you're in the desert and everything else is bright, the reticle is bright also. But if you're in the dark woods, it's not blinding and glaring. So once again, we can see the awesome clarity of the glass, and they're a great scope. But for my money, if I'm gonna buy a Trijicon ACOG, it's gotta have the illuminated fiber optic reticle. And I hope that gave you some insight on what an ACOG's all about and what you're getting for $1,100 or $1,200.
You know, and you can be rest assured that when you are purchasing and spending that kind of money, this is the gold standard of battle optics. You're not going to get something that if you accidentally drop it on the ground, it's not going to work. This one in your hands is a perfect example of how durable these optics really are. I wouldn't be surprised if that spent 15 tours overseas in the sandbox getting continually, fallen on by camels, or getting dust in the lens, and bumping into,
rubbing up against the tunnel on a Humvee.
Exactly.
No, it's got some battle scars. And let me tell you this, as an endorsement of the ACOG series, I very well may trade off this rifle or sell this rifle. I don't ever see this ACOG leaving my collection. This may get transferred to another weapon, but it took me years to get up to this personal spot where this was an optic for me, and I'm not trading it or selling it. It's mine, and it is the gold standard, and I've got it. If I get another weapon, I may get another ACOG, but I've got this one, and it's staying in my collection.
It's a lifetime commitment that you can make with Trijicon. It's going to work. It's going to keep going, and you're going to be glad that you spent the $1,200 15 years down the road instead of buying 6 or 7 BSAs and who knows what else. You know, you're paying more up front, but you're getting something that's going to be a whole lot better.
It does not have a battery. There is no battery. It is all self-powered and self-contained. And you know, we did notice, Bob, in the dim light, that there is no difference. Now this is a 15, 20-year-old sight that's been well worn and beat up. And with my eyes, I can't tell the level of illumination difference between this and the new one. I know that's a concern if you get on the blogs and you read the forums and you do your research like you should before you buy a $1,200 optic. There's going to be people that are spouting that about half-lives and tritium lives. I can tell you that this optic is the tritium bead is darn near as bright as this brand new one. So you can rest assured. And you know what? I have never put this in the safe and taken it out again and the battery's dead, because it doesn't have a battery. And that's another reason why I love it.
It's a good reason to love it.
Yep.
Reliability.
Rugged, durable, battle proven, and incredibly clear glass.
Battle tested, Fire Mountain Outdoors approved.
That's right. I heartily endorse this product.
Get one.
Hey, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.
Catch you guys later.
So glad the microphone's on.
I'm thinking we probably should do another run of this anyway, just so we have some options.
Yeah.
You have options. I'm not going to deal with it, so it's your nightmare.
Yeah.
Unless you want it to be.
What is that? What do I see? Do you see that black?
That banshee back there?
Oh, it's the board. It's just the darkness of the roof.
Oh,
sorry. Never mind. Did you see it?
No, I didn't. My eyes aren't that good.
Operator's pants. What are we doing? Oh.
Gemma, come here. Gemma. Hey, Gemma. All right, Sasquatch in his dog. So be it.
Okay. Is this Sasquatch? Oh my God. Oh my God.